Hey there, Blue Mages. Liam here. Welcome back to Blue Academy. The Blue Mage update to level 70 and patch 5.45 is just around the corner, so it's important to be prepared. We don't yet have a concrete release date, but given patch release cadence, we can probably expect to see it in early to mid-February. I'll list the things that I'm going to do to prepare, but just be aware that all of this is speculation. Any or all of it could be incorrect, but it should still be helpful to do this anyway. A lot of this also just boils down to play Blue Mage, but there are some subtle implications there as well. Anyway, let's get started. Here's what our overall checklist looks like. Some of these may seem obvious, but I'll explain why I included them anyway. This first item in our checklist, finish your mass carnival stages, may seem like a well duh tip. You should be doing this anyway, as not having Angel Whisper is doing a disservice to any party you do join, but it is likely that we will have totem spells introduced in the new patch. For these, you will likely need to complete some number of carnival stages, just like Angel Whisper requires all 30 current stages. If you need help with any of the stages, I do have a video for each current stage, and I and others can provide further help if needed in the YouTube comments and in Discord. This next item is pretty optional, but if you're a completionist like me, it's worth doing. Finish as many entries in your Blue Mage Log as you can. With the addition of Stormblood dungeons, trials, and raids, there will be even more entries in our log. Currently, the only reason to do these is for the 3 achievements, with the last one giving the Blue Luminary title. We can probably expect to see more achievements for completing entries in our log, and it's entirely possible that we could get something cool like a special King Glam for finishing all entries, though that's just me being optimistic. More likely, we'll just see another title, but there's no downside to finishing your log now, and it's certainly a lot of fun. On top of this, it'll give you a lot of allied seals and tomestones of Poetics, which will help with one of our later checklist items. I do recommend making use of the various discords pertaining to your data center in order to find groups to clear out your log. Anyway, moving on. This next one's pretty important. You will want to unlock all Stormblood dungeons, trials, extreme trials, and raids. These will be the new entries in our Blue Mage Log, and we can expect to see achievements for the extremes and some of the Savage raids just as we did before. I'm not going to enumerate all of the optional ones here, but there are quite a few. You don't need to complete the extremes or savages in advance. I myself started playing towards the end of Stormblood and didn't get a chance to try them synced, so doing them as blue will be my first time, and I'm looking forward to that. We also don't really know which savages will be involved in a Blue Justice equivalent set of achievements, but we can at least expect to see O4S, OAS, and O12S since they're the final fights in each tier. The next thing we'll want to do is cap out on Allied and Centurio seals. Up to now, Allied Seals has been our main currency as blue, and we get quite a bit just from doing our weekly carnival challenges and Blue Mage Log entries. We've used seals for buying gear, and since we're getting new gear, it will be good to have as many as possible before the patch. Now I also mentioned Centurio seals, and this is nothing but hand-wavy speculation. I have no evidence that these will be necessary, and in fact, there's already evidence to the contrary, since when we got Heavensward content added, we didn't use Centurio seals, even though Heavensward content for other jobs does use those Centurio seals. However, it doesn't hurt to be over-prepared. For Centurio seals, what you can do is join a link shell or Discord that announces S-ranks and non-Shadowbringers content. While Realm Reborn S-ranks will give 50 seals, while Heavensward and Stormblood S-ranks will give 100 seals each. You can also do the daily and weekly clan hunts. The weekly hunts in Ishgard and Kugane grant 100 seals each and don't take long at all to complete for a level 80. I've been passively building up Centurio seals myself this way, but if you really need some, you can do the daily hunts as well. Anyway, like I said, they're probably not necessary, but it doesn't hurt to be over-prepared. Alright, now on to what most people are probably here for, the gear list. Now, we cannot know for certain what best in slot will be at level 70, but we can make some good guesses. As with level 60, you should be able to do basically all of the content using simple tombstone gear, but for folks who want to truly optimize, this section is for you. Our best in slot will be some mixture of Skaven, Omega, Artifact, and maybe Eureka gear, just like our current best in slot is a mix of Shire, Alexander, and Wallachie gear. We can guess what best in slot will be with the gear we already know about, so everything but the new Artifact armor set. However, it is entirely possible that everything will change based on the Artifact gear or new spells we may get. As an example, if a new defensive spell means that tanks no longer just spam Diamondback and Blood Drain constantly, we may have one single best in slot set instead of prioritizing spell speed as tanks. At any rate, I'll describe 2 sets using the same assumptions that we have for level 60. The DPS set will prioritize critical hit and direct hit as it does currently. I don't expect this to change, as it's also fairly consistent with nearly every other job maximizing DPS. The items for this are the Omega Eye Mask, Jacket, Gloves, Augmented Skaven tassets, trousers, and shoes, Omega ear, Skaven choker, Omega bracelet and ring, and the Skaven ring. The tank and healer set will prioritize spell speed and determination. Again, this is more likely to change than the DPS set, but we'll cover it anyway. The items for this are Skaven mask, coat, gloves, Omega tassets, trousers, and shoes, Skaven ear cuff, Omega choker, and then Skaven bracelet and 2 Skaven rings. Basically, if you get the full augmented Skaven and Omega sets, you'll have both complete sets, and it doesn't take very long to farm them either. To get the Omega set, you have to farm 09 through 12S, just as we had to farm A9 through 12S. Now, some of the mechanics for the Omega fights are still pretty tricky unsynced, but there's plenty of parties for this going up all the time. People are usually willing to at least teach some of the mechanics. I don't expect it to be that bad. While you're working on gearing up, you'll probably want to hit the market board and grab some grade 6 materia. Grade 6 is the highest we'll be able to use in our gear. So I have just a bunch of the crit, direct hit, spell speed, and determination, and I'll be slotting materia in based on whatever gear set I end up using. A couple months back, I started working on a Blue Mage gear spreadsheet, and I just updated it with the level 70 gear that we know about. You can find a link to that in the video description, and play around with things and see what sort of set will work best for you. Now, there is one unaddressed elephant in the room. You may have noticed I didn't mention the Eureka gear at all, and that would be the Elemental Casting set here. And as it turns out, according to my spreadsheet, which again is, very likely to be incorrect. We don't know the exact values of artifact gear. We don't know what the damage calculations will look like exactly, but it's good enough. But according to that spreadsheet, for both DPS and for tank and healer setups, the Eureka gear will be best in slot. Even more so for the tank and healer, since you can get more spell speed on it. Now for the DPS, it's only going to be about a 1% difference according to the spreadsheet, so it's really not a huge upgrade. So what that means is if you don't already have the gear, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Just waiting and seeing, what the artifact gear looks like before doing anything like that. In order to unlock the armor, you need to unlock all 4 zones of Eureka, and you get the first initial things in Pyros. It takes about 200-ish Pyros crystals to get the full set. Once you get that, you have to go into Hydatos, which is the 4th zone, and it'll take around 200 Hydatos crystals to upgrade the things to +1. Now, you don't need to get the +2 set. That only has benefits in Eureka. Blue Mage, as far as we know, will not be able to enter Eureka, so there's little benefit to us to upgrade it. And plus that takes a few Baldesian Arsenal runs, which, again, it's quite a time investment, so I wouldn't really worry about that too much. But you'll come into Hydatos, and you'll upgrade here, and you'll get your +1 set. Now, even though it is eye level 390, meaning that it has slightly less intelligence, it does have 5 materia slots, and it gives us a lot more secondary stats. So again, mathematically, it's very slightly best in slot, but if you don't already have Eureka, if you don't enjoy Eureka, you don't have the items already, I cannot really in good conscience recommend doing it. That being said, if you're like me and you already have them, that will be your best in slot. So go ahead and use those. One other thing you'll want to figure out before the patch drops is the route you'll take to tackle the content. Are you going to rush to 70 and then collect spells, or are you going to collect spells and fill your log as you level? Do you plan on leveling with a group? Do you plan on leveling solo? Are you going to try to clear extremes and savages ASAP, or take a little bit more, of a leisurely pace on that? Either way, having some idea of what you want to do could be helpful. Or maybe your plan is to just not plan at all and just go with the flow, and that is totally fine too. On this note, it can be helpful to join one of the Blue Mage Discords and find a group and talk about your plan. I've got a link to the Blue Academy Discord down below, where we have a lot of really active general channels, but we also have data center specific looking for group and static recruitment channels. Those haven't seen a lot of activity yet, but I expect that will change once level 70 actually drops. However, you could find a lot of activity on your data center specific Discord. If you join us, we'll be able to share those links with you. Anyway, there are a lot of different ways to plan for the patch. If you're going to do just one thing, I recommend grabbing at least your scaving gear so you have some level 70 gear ready to go. What are your plans for the patch? Let me know in the comments or on Discord. I'm eager to hear.
If you liked this video, feel free to check out these other ones. While you're at it, sting that subscribe button, share your bad breath in the comments, and stay tuned for more Blue Mage content.